Hello everyone! You who like knitting, new beginners and not that new, you who are curious about learning new techniques, and everyone else. First of all, I would like to thank you for all your comments and likes. It highly motivates me to do more tutorials and share with you more projects and tips. Maybe something seems to be a bit difficult or you think you won't manage it at all, but I'm sure that everyone who knows the very basic of knitting, such as purl and knit stitches, will manage everything I show in my tutorials. Just take it easy, don't push yourself, because knitting is about enjoying the process and get the result you will be satisfied with. I try to find the balance in my works in a way that they are not too simple and boring, but comprehensible and manageable. As a solution, I decided to put some options in one video with the purpose that you choose yourself how deep you want to learn, how much time you're ready to spend on it, and maybe realize that not everything that looks complicating is really complicating. Let me know in the comments how do you find this idea and what do you prefer, the simplest projects or with some additional techniques. I would love to hear from you. In this video I'm going to show you how to knit two different hats for kids. Here you can see the pink one, mainly just plain knitting that doesn't require much time and effort. The blue hat has double edges, flaps, cords, a simple pattern, and finally pom-pom. I'm going to show you how to knit all these features, and you can apply them to the basic pink one, not necessarily all of them. When it comes to choosing the yarn, the easiest is to choose a yarn with an old baby, then it definitely will be hypoallergenic and good for kids. Then yarn must be soft to be suitable for a child's skin, therefore a blend of wool with the acrylic is absolutely fine. Best is merino wool, alpaca, camel's wool, cashmere, cotton linen blend with acrylic. For babies, avoid poor wool or mohair, which can be too scratchy, and yarn with a long fluff that can end up in the mouth. Some kids also get an allergy reaction to the wool of some animals. No matter what project you start with making a sample of your yarn. I think I didn't mention before, but actually it's crucial to wash your sample before you start counting stitches. You can skip it if you need an oversized piece of clothing or use a non-natural yarn, but when it comes to knitting a project that's supposed to sit on you precisely, or if you use a poor wool, merino, alpaca, or a blend with a big percentage of wool component, I would recommend washing your sample beforehand. In these cases, you will see the difference. In the description below, you will find the PDF file with the size chart for kids' hats, starting from newborn up to 11 years old, both in centimeters and inches. Be aware that it's just reference numbers and hat circumference varies a lot from one kid to another, even if they are the same age. But if you can measure the hat of a particular kid, you're going to need a hat for. I'm going to knit one hat for a newborn kid with a hat circumference of 34 centimeters. Another one hat for a size 6-9 months old kid. Let's say I take as a starting point 43 centimeters hat circumference. I've measured the gauge of the pink sample, it's 22 stitches on 10 centimeters. The blue sample, as I said, 19 stitches on 10 centimeters. Let us do some calculations that allow you to use any yarn you like for your hat project. For the pink hat, I take a newborn size of 34 centimeters. I counted 22 stitches on 10 centimeters of the sample. It means 1 centimeter equal to 2.2 stitches. To make the head sitting well on the head, I need to subtract from the head size 3-4 centimeters. Let's say I have 30 centimeters left. I multiply 30 centimeters to 2.2 stitches and get 66 stitches altogether. As I'm thinking to start the head with a rib, I want to have an even number of stitches. So if you get an uneven number, just make it even. The pin head will be easy to knit. If you have a good variety of needle sizes, I recommend taking 1.5 centimeters smaller needles for knitting the rib. My main needles will be 3.5 millimeters. For the rib, I take 3 millimeters. However, you can use the same size if you don't have another size, or if you do a tubular cast on, I will also recommend taking the same size needle. I start with the casting on 66 stitches plus 1 to join the round. Cast on stitches any method you prefer. When I have all stitches on my needle, I check that the edge is not twisted, and then I join the round, moving one stitch from the left to the right needle and pulling one stitch over another. Then I start ribbing, one knit, one purl stitch, about 2-3 centimeters. After that, according to the size chart, I need to do plain knitting until I reach 11 centimeters of the height, including the rib. At the same time, it's time to change the needle size to bigger ones if you need to. There are a lot of ways to knit the head top. I take the simple one. I divide all stitches into 8 parts. It's easy having 4 double pointed needles, because then I just divide each needle in 2 and set the markers. Next row I will knit together 2 stitches after each marker. Next 2 rows I do without any decreases. Then again I do 1 row with decreases and the next 2 without. In all following rows I do 1 row with decreases and 1 without until I get 2-3 stitches on each part. Now I have just a few stitches left. I cut the thread and start taking all stitches one after another on this thread using the crochet. I pull the thread to the other side of the hat and pull the thread again through each loop. Finally, I tied the thread and can hide it afterward. The basic hat is ready. If I want, I can make a pom-pom for it or put some beautiful decorations. For the blue hat, I do the same calculations. As I said, I take size 6-9 months, which is roughly 43 centimeters. According to my gauge, on 10 centimeters I counted 19 stitches. Therefore, 1 centimeter equal 1.9 stitch. I subtract 3 centimeters for better sitting on the hat and have 40 centimeters left. 40 centimeters multiply 1.9 stitches equals 76 stitches. To make the double edge, I need to have an extra thread. Using it, I cast on 76 stitches plus 1 to join the round. It will be better if you use a needle that is smaller than the main needle. For example, I use 4.5mm needles, so it would be better to use a 4mm needle to make this double edge. But I simply don't have them and don't expect that everyone has many different sizes of needles. So therefore I will use the same needle of 4.5mm. I join the round and do 4-5 centimeters of knitting, which I will fold after. Now I have 5 centimeters of plain knitting and now need to leave stitches from the other side of my knitting. For this purpose I use another needle I have. The size is not that important. I leave loops one after another on this needle. Important to check that the number of stitches is equal, therefore I count them. I don't need extra thread anymore and get rid of it. Then I fold my knitting side to side. You can hook one stitch from the front needle and one from the back needle and knit them together. But I prefer to move the front stitch to the back needle and knit them together this way. For me it's more convenient. The only thing you have to pay attention is that your stitches are not getting twisted. When I finish the row, I have all stitches on one needle again and a neat looking edge. If you had small needles for the edge, you can start the next row with the main needle. Of course, I could just do plain knitting for my hat, but I decided to make a simple pattern. To make this pattern, the first row I do one knit, one purl stitch. All next rows I just alternate stitches. It means where I had a knit stitch I do purl stitch, where I had purl stitch I do a knit stitch. This way I repeat until I reach 14 centimeters of the recommended height. You can try also this one or do just plain knitting until it starts decreasing. To make decreasing smooth, I divide all stitches into 6 parts. I will distribute them next way. 13, 12, 13, 13, 12, 13, and set markers. In the first row of decreasing, I do one knit stitch, then 2 stitches together toward the marker. For this reason, I need to turn them. Then I knit all the following stitches until I have 3 stitches left. Then I turn the next stitches the way I can knit them together towards the marker. Then I knit 1 stitch, a marker, 1 knit stitch. Again, I need to knit 2 stitches together which incline toward the marker to the right. I stretch them a bit to make it easy to knit them together. If they are turned another way, just change it. Knit until 3 stitches left, 2 stitches together, 1 knit stitch. So that's the way I'm going to do the whole row by each marker. Next row I do without any changes. I'm going to alternate rows with and without decreases until I get 4 or 5 stitches in between markers. Here you can see how I do decrease when I have just 5 stitches left. I do 1 knit stitch, then I move 1 stitch to the right needle, knit 2 stitches toward the marker and pull this stitch through the right one, which I moved just before. If you have 4 stitches, not 5, you do 2 decreases as previously, just without any knit stitches. I cut off the thread and using the crochet, just pull the thread through each stitch. I tied it slightly and moved the thread to the wrong side of the hat. Here I pull the thread again through each stitch and tied it properly. Now I can hide all thread ends. I had a connection between two pieces of yarn here. I untie it, make a knot and hide each end separately. Then I can hide the long end too. As I'm going to knit a hat with the flaps, I need to calculate how to distribute my stitches. For this reason, I divide 76 stitches into 5 and get 15.2. To show you how it will look like, I draw a circle with the 4 parts. Here I have front, back and 2 flaps. For the front side, I take 2 parts out of 5, which is roughly 30 stitches. Then I take 1 part for each flap, 15 and 15, and then take the rest for the back side. 76 stitches minus 60 stitches that I used for the other parts, I get 16 left. It will be the back of the hat. Moreover, I divide the back in 2, 8 stitches and 8 stitches. I do it because just in the middle of the back will be the beginning of the row. So to say, it's where we start the row. First of all, I need to set markers in places I want to have a flap. As I got 8 stitches before the flap, I count them and set the first marker. Then I count the next 15 stitches and set another marker. That's the size of my flap that I got according to my calculations. I take a double-pointed needle and using a crochet start lifting 15 loops from one side. They are not exactly on the middle of the edge, but slightly lower, because my flaps will be two-sided. To make sure that you lift stitches from the same row, just check the level from time to time. Here I got one side of stitches. I keep doing the same, but on the other side. No need to say that I also need to get 15 stitches on the other side. When both sides are ready, I do 3 rows of knitting. Important to keep the first and last stitches tight, so just hold the thread tight enough. After 3 rows of knitting, I will do decreases. The first row with decreases I do the next way. I knit 1 stitch, then 2 stitches together into a direction of the center of the flap, so right to left. Then I knit all the following stitches until I have 3 stitches left until the next marker. I do 2 stitches together with an inclination toward the middle of the flap, left to right, and then a knit stitch. The same on the other side. 1 knit stitch, 2 stitches together, all other stitches until 3 left, 2 stitches together and 1 knit stitch. The row is ready. Next row I just do knitting without decreases. So every second row since now is a decrease row until I get 4 or 5 stitches left on the needle. As I have 5 stitches left, I need to do a decrease using the middle 3 stitches. I do a knit stitch as usual, then move 1 stitch to the right needle, knit 2 stitches together, pull the stitch over the previous one, and the final knit stitch. If you have 4 stitches left, you just do 2 decreases in 2 directions as you did previously. Next row I do the final decrease, leaving 2 stitches on each side. I need to move all 4 stitches to one needle, the way the thread is on the left side from the stitches. I shift all stitches to the right and simply do knit stitches, holding the thread tight, especially with the first stitch. When I finish with the row, I shift all stitches to the right and start again, and again, and again, until I have the length of the cord I want to have. At the end of the cord, I knit every 2 stitches together. And the last 2 stitches also together. I cut the thread, pull it through the loop, and using the needle, hide it inside the cord, as it's hollow there. After you do rinsing, washing, all ends will be felted inside and never show up again. Here you can see I have a small loop that sticks out. I pull it also inside using the crochet, and it also will disappear after washing. After you finish both flaps, you can make a knot from the cord, like this. Using crochet or needle, it's easy to hide ends inside the flap. I just make a knot to make sure it won't stretch too much and then hide it. If you want to decorate your hat with a pom-pom, I would recommend buying one rather than making it yourself. There's a huge variety of sizes, colors, materials. You can find them in craft shops or buy them online. The cheapest ones, I believe, you can find on AliExpress. I've never ordered these ones, but I see they have a button, therefore must be easy to attach them to the hat. Another option is to buy a special tool to make pompons yourself. I've ordered this tool to test and can share how it works with you later when I get it. It has different sizes and might be quite useful. However, I think not likely you have that or this, and therefore here show the way to make pompon from threads you have. I think it's the easiest one method, but I'm not an expert in making pompons. I just want to decorate the hat using what I already have at my disposal. I take the thread the color I believe will match my hat and reel it up. Not too little, because then pompon will be poor and scant, but not too much so I can hide it afterward. When I have a coil that's big enough, I cut off the thread and want to entwine it around in the middle of the coil. However, my thread is not strong enough and therefore I take another thread to tie it up. It has to be very tight. And after, I leave the ends long enough to touch the pom-pom to the head. I cut the coil on both sides. The idea is to form a ball from this mess, carefully cutting the sticking out ends. It takes a while and I'm still not sure I managed to make a ball neat. Then I take crochet and need to pull the ends through the head top, taking the distance of about 1 centimeter from the peak, on one side and then another. From both ends I make a double knot, not single, to leave the pompon easily removable when I need it. With a double knot it won't be lost somewhere on the way. Both hats are ready and now it's time to rinse them. I do recommend rinsing your final product in lukewarm water, maybe even with a soap. Squeeze it gently and dry off on the flat surface. It's a final step and you will definitely manage it without demonstration. I hope you liked this video and find some of the techniques I was showing you here useful for your knitting projects. Please let me know if you like this format with the basic guidelines and some additional sub-tutorials that can be built on it, or what in your opinion will be better or best. Of course, everyone has his own opinion and I don't think it will be possible to satisfy everyone's wish, but I'll be glad to hear from you and understand better what you're looking for when searching for knitting tutorials on YouTube. Enjoy knitting and see you next video.